It is a wonderful evening. Some things that happen to you in life are too good to be true. I hope that's the case for everyone in this room. That there will be some event where you will say, this is just too good to be true. And that's the way I feel tonight. There's Bob Crandall. Bob, it's good to see you. It's just too good to be true. Now, Todd, I wanted to mention something to you. If you're real good, when you turn 80, you'll get one of these. That's a reward for living a long time. There are a lot of wonderful things. The list is not real long that go with living a long time. But you do get to celebrate some wonderful things. A few years ago, Dot and I celebrated our 60th wedding anniversary. And we did something very special. We went to the Dairy Queen. But tonight, it is such a special honor to have my name associated with the Julian Simon Rich Legacy. After receiving Greg Conco's call, where are you, Greg? After receiving Greg Conco's call, Executive Director of CEI, telling me that I was the one that had been selected to receive this reward, my mind immediately went back to the 1970s and 1980s, which were the heydays of Julian Simon's work. I went through my library, which is not very well organized, but I've got a lot of good books there. And I found Julian Simon's The Ultimate Resource, second edition. And I read the book from cover to cover again. And as I read through the book, and I thought about my own personal experience during the 1970s and early 1980s, I realized again what amazing years these were. These were amazing years. It was a time when the world seemed hostile to free market ideas, if you can imagine such a thing. The world was just hostile to free market ideas, if not to freedom itself. It was a time when the intelligentsia, as Bishop Fulton Sheen defined those people to be those who are educated beyond the limits of their intelligence. It was a time when the intelligentsia were convinced that we were running out of everything. And it was oil, which was at the top of the list. It was gas, it was copper, it was iron, you name it. It was food, it was arable land. We were running out of everything, but one thing, people. We were just overrun with people. People were the problem. Scarcity was being discovered, and we had a serious problem. It would be the end of Western civilization as we have known it. Sound familiar? Population growth was the evil, and somehow there had to be some controls put in place to limit our unfortunate behavior as human beings. Julian Simon would have nothing to do with these ideas. Nothing. He saw scarcity as the prelude to plenty if markets were allowed to operate. He insisted on looking at data. What a strange idea. And he didn't know what the data would tell him, but as he probed into the data, he thought, well, gee whiz, we're not running out of anything except common sense. And people, the free spirit of men and women, form the solution to our problems if we allow markets and property rights to function in a somewhat positive way. When he published his ideas, he was pummeled by the intelligentsia. They couldn't stand it. The end of plenty advocates saw their cause as being right versus wrong, good versus evil. We were in the garden of good and evil. These were moral issues. And the intelligentsia took the high ground, the moral high ground, calling for command and control regulation to address these problems. They became the regulatory Baptists who provided cover and political justification for the bootleggers, quite often industrialist manufacturers who realized, hey, command and control isn't such a bad idea when it enables you to cartelize an industry or raise rivals' cost by way of rules and regulations. And thus began the rise of the regulatory state. Julian Simon fanned the coals of freedom, just as CEI has done since 1984, since Fred and Fran and Sam Kasserman and some others I cannot name who are undoubtedly critical people unfurled their flag up on Pennsylvania Avenue, and I remember seeing it and celebrating. How many people in the room tonight remember when CEI put the flag out on Pennsylvania Avenue? That was the beginning of something wonderful. We cannot let up. Some things in life are too good to be true. And what you are doing and what we are doing at CEI is one of those things. Thank you so much for this wonderful award.